Regigigas, a powerful Pokemon of ancient legend. The leader of the Regi trio of Hoenn. Pokemon that you had to use all kinds of crazy puzzles and things to solve to get into it, only to use as the keys to unlock this great beast. A Pokemon so powerful that it can move continents, that an ancient race of people sealed it away for fear of what it could do to the world. And it kinda sucks. Hey guys, it's Emerald Sands here coming for a Pokemon video, and today we're going to talk about the competitive viability, or lack thereof, of Regigigas. Regigigas is, well, it looks like a monster of a Pokemon. And if you know anything about Pokemon, you look at those stats and see the same thing. 110 HP defense and special defense, meaning it's going to be a pretty bulky Pokemon. Pure normal typing can be good or bad depending. It's not going to have very many resistances to take things like a lot of Mega attacks or Z moves. But it only has one weakness, and it can stick around in the field for a decent amount of time. 100 speed is like the speed tier, you know, a lot of things higher than 100, lower than 100. 100 is a very generic speed tier, a lot of Pokemon have it, but it's good. 80 special attack won't be used as it's a physical Pokemon, and 160 attack is very, very good. It's probably not as crazy nowadays as it used to be, but it's definitely really high up there, and it's a lot more powerful than other offensive Pokemon attack stats you'll see. So why does this Pokemon not work as well as you think? Heck, if you even look at its moves, it's obviously got things like Return and things like that for a stab powerful move, but you have moves like Earthquake, Knock Off, all three of the elemental punches, Drain Punch, Power Up Punch, Stone Edge, Heavy Slam, Superpower, Zen Headbutt. This thing has the coverage of a monster, and the stats of one to match, but it's not good. Now, to look at why Regigigas is not good, you have to take a look, very obviously, at its ability, and another thing I'll mention later. Today, False Swipe Gaming actually uploaded a video about the history of Regigigas in competitive, and what made it so lackluster. And if you watch that video, he'll tell you that Regigigas has basically been bottom tier or less, untiered, in every single generation pretty much. The reason for this is because of Slow Start. Now, bad abilities happen here and there. Archeops has Defeatist, meaning once it goes under half health, its stats are, well, its attack stats are a lot lower, and Archeops caused this, ends up PUBL. Not a good place to be, especially with stats like this. And you also have Slacking, a Pokemon with actually pretty similar stats to Regigigas, aside from that special bulk being not that good. But again, Truant, making it almost unusable. But of the three, Regigigas is the only one that's been consistently untiered and awful. Slow Start. On Switch In, this Pokemon's attack and speed are halved for 5 turns. Instantly looking at this, you can tell it's going to be a problem. Having your attack halved is never good, especially not when you're a physically offensive Pokemon. And 5 turns is a long time in a Pokemon match. The reason that this is so bad is having your attack have something like Burn. If you burn the right offensive Pokemon in your opposing team, that Pokemon can be out for the game. That's one reason why things like Scald and Will-O-Wisp are such good moves, aside from Scald just being a solid water stab, is that burning a Pokemon is insanely useful. And Regigigas is instantly burned from the start of the match, 5 turns, and that speed goes from a solid base 100 to around a base 50. Now, it's not exactly that, because the way you have your investment and things, it's a lot of math, but it doesn't actually equal out to exactly what a base 50 would be, but it's around there. And it's for 5 turns. Now, this wouldn't be so bad if it weren't for a couple of other things about Regigigas that you have to learn. For one thing, when it says its attack and speed are halved for 5 turns, it means 5 turns. I.e., if you're on the field for 5 turns, right, and it's done, if you leave the field switching out, which you will have to do, it's Pokemon, when you come back in, that Slow Start's completely reset. In another thing, it's not like you can just lose 3 turns, switch out, come back in, and do the other 2. You can't do that, because Regigigas will still have to reset its Slow Start every time. If you completely pass it up, next time switch back in, it's done. Now, this is bad enough. You really don't want to have to be switching out and that kind of thing, being unable to use a Pokemon unless in the field for 5 turns, comes back. doesn't work. What about stalling out those 5 turns? It's impossible. Back in the day, you use Regigigas, you use things like Thunder Wave, Confuse Ray, that's Confide, that's not the right move. Substitute, and it was fine. I mean, it wasn't fine, it was garbage, but you had to stall out with ways like this, because Regigigas doesn't even get the best stalling move in the game, Protect. Protect, illegal. Any Pokemon, with the exception of like Wildlife and Unknown, and I think there's like 2 more, I forget what they are, can get Protect. See these Pokemon? Every one of these Pokemon can get Protect. Pretty much every Pokemon can. It's a really simple move, you teach it by TM, and presumably Protect was taken off Regigigas in the way of not letting it be able to get past slow start easily enough. But what they didn't realize is that makes it completely unviable in everything. And when it comes to singles, I don't think Protect is the only reason why it's really awful. In fact, it's probably not, because Protect doesn't even use that much in singles, aside from certain Pokemon using, you know, stall sets. I mean, I've seen it on Gliscor before, to get your Poison Heal much faster. You know, you can Protect on certain turns, Protect and substitutes, and do different things. I think I've also seen it on, like, I want to say Clefable. I don't exactly know what runs Protect. Speed Boost Pokemon run Protect, I know, so they can get that turn speed boost instantly. Get that +1 speed before they have to do anything else about it. But Gigas doesn't get it. And taking a step back from Protect here, you will never be able to use Regigigas' really good stats. It just doesn't happen. And because of Protect, even things like, what are the moves that give you, that produce your abilities, like Gastro Acid? It's Gastro Acid. You know, some Pokemon, probably nothing crazy. There's also Worry Seed. Worry Seed actually could be a decent one, especially with Whimsicott or something supporting it. You know, you have a, say you're playing in doubles, right? Where's Whimsicott? Here's Whimsicott. You have Whimsicott with Worry Seed, Prankster Worry Seed, next to your thing. You have Tailwind to make that base 100 speed insanely powerful. And it probably has things like Rock Slide too. But it doesn't work. Because even if you wanted to use this as a gimmick, right? In doubles, Regigigas doesn't work because Protect, while yes, being a way to stall out slow start, is the best move in doubles, especially in VGC, the National Championships, a format I play quite often. Protect will be on almost every Pokemon. There are teams out there that don't have many Protects, or even any. I believe that the internationals of, 2014 winner, the Rain team, that had Talonflame, Aegislash, Politoed Ludicolo, had like 1 Protect move or something on it. It wasn't a lot of Protect. It was like 1 or 2 Pokemon had it. I think it was actually only the King Shield Aegislash was the closest thing I had to Protect. There was no other thing on it. But that team was a rarity. If you look at a Pokemon or a VGC team with less than like 3 Protects, people will ask you about it. And even if it's not necessarily a bad team without it or something, you're gonna have Protect on a lot. And people will at least question it or take a second look. But Regigigas, as we saw, doesn't even get Protect. Now, I'm not saying Worry Seed gimmicks would be good in VGC. In fact, I really don't think it would. Maybe in 2018, it would have been a fun little thing to play around with. I mean, 2018 had a lot of very strange things that were viable. You could run most anything in 2018 and have it do at least something. But in the end, it wasn't insane. And I doubt it would be if it got Protect even. But without Protect, even if you do get your slow start off, or get it off the field, it's not going to change anything. Because not having Protect, unless you're running a choice item, is a serious boon to a Pokemon. And while you could be running something like Band or even Choice Scarf, Scarf would actually be a kind of interesting thing to use. This slow start, still, this ability is so awful that it sends this Pokemon by itself into obscurity. There is one interesting thing coming out in Pokemon Sword and Shield that I want to comment on, and that's Weezing. Not this Weezing right here, but it's not on Showdown yet, the Galarian Weezing. Galarian Weezing has been revealed to have an ability called, I believe it's Neutralizing Gas, where once it's on the field, or while it's on the field, every single other Pokemon's ability is completely neutralized. Doesn't exist. For Regigigas, this might be quite interesting. As long as you're Galarian Weezings in the field, your slow start isn't active. Now, there are some abilities that don't work like that. For instance, if you try to Worry Seed or Insomnia, or Worry Seed or Gas Arrested and Aegislash, it doesn't work. Stance Change is an ability that is stuck on Aegislash, cannot be skill swapped or anything like that. Would they do that to Regigigas? Well, Slow Start already can be affected by Worry Seed and Skill Swap, so maybe not. However, we really don't know the specifics of Galarian Weezing's ability yet because it's not out yet. As of today, it's only the 29th of September, and the game isn't out yet. So, we don't know how it'll work. Presumably it'll work as you think and get rid of the ability, but we don't know. And actually, Galarian Weezing will be an interesting partner for Regigigas, because Regigigas only has one weakness, being the fighting type. And if you don't know, Galarian Weezing is part poison, part fairy, which beats the fighting type. Will it be good in doubles? Probably not. It still doesn't have protect, and this only works obviously in a doubles setting, but it might be a fun little gimmick to mess around with. Now, how do I propose that Game Freak right their wrongs and hopefully help out a guy a little bit? Well, there are a couple ways to do it. For one, the easiest one that doesn't even involve slow start is just let it have protect. Regigigas getting protect wouldn't be insanely overpowered, especially not anymore, especially since the way it currently works, Regigigas needs to be on the field for that 5 turns. It's gone when you remove it entirely. So it's not like you can use protect to switch in, protect a turn, and leave immediately afterwards or something like that. It's still a substitute, thank God, but I think a combination of the two would even be way better for it and allow it to do more things. Second of all, we need to talk about Slow Start. Slow Start could be a relatively fair ability if it worked a lot differently. Because the way it works, it's just totally unfair. But if you made it so that it only activated once per game, say you switch in your Regigigas, right? You get Slow Start active, and it starts on a 5-turn timer. Well, you know, you protect or something, it's 4 turns, then you switch it out, so it's gone. And when it comes back in, 3, 2, switch back out, have that 1 turn left, protect or use an attack or whatever you do, and it's gone for good. Have it so you can switch out and switch back in and keep your progress of already losing Slow Start. Then in that case, it would be probably a better Pokemon. Because there are ways to just stall a few turns in Pokemon, in competitive. And doing so, playing around your opponent's team is a legitimate way of playing, you know, switching it in on like a Shadow Ball of an opponent or something like that. An attack that could easily absorb. With these stats, it could be a legitimate OU threat. Now, the third option, and I think, you know, a relatively simple one. I mean, I also want them to just please give it protect, please. But a third option is just release an event Regigigas that doesn't have Slow Start. You know, even if it's not a crazy ability, let's say something like Limber, right? Paralysis immunity. That's not overpowered. I don't know, something like Early Bird. Something like other completely, relatively boring and just not great abilities. It wouldn't even make the Pokemon that overpowered. I could see Regigigas being an OU threat. A good Pokemon. But I don't see it being an Uber or anything like that. Its stats are good, probably great, but when it comes to, you know, Ubers, it might be usable a little bit, but I doubt it would be anything too crazy insane. Maybe it would be pretty good because it's speed tier, but it might go past OU. But even then, it's not like it would break the game or anything, which is implied like it would. And if you really want to keep Slow Start, there are ways you can nerf it to make Regigigas at least a mid-tier Pokemon, something, you know, around RU or UU. Even an NU would be, you know, something for it. I mean, look at this. Is it even tiered? What's its tier right now? PU with parentheses. That means untiered. That means untiered and basically unusable. Unused and unusable, really. It's not good. Now, Sword and Shield's coming out in a couple months, and our most recent game with remakes was in Generation 6 with Auras. So there's a decent chance that sometime in the future, relatively soon, we could get a Gen 4 Sinnoh remake. And if we do, I really hope that Regigigas gets changed somehow to make it at least relatively usable. I mean, I would like to see it mostly get Protect and some Slow Start things or changes, just so it'd be good to see more use in doubles, because I'm mostly a doubles player. But even for singles players out there who really wouldn't mind if he's Protect, please. Buff Slow Start, or give us a Regigigas that doesn't have it, or something, because, by God, that would make the Pokemon so much better, and could be a legitimately fun addition to different teams, and with all of its crazy coverage and great stats and things it could do, it could be a legitimately really fun Pokemon to play with. So I want to thank you all for watching and just talking about a little thing. I mean, I don't really think I added too much to the conversation, maybe just a few ways to change it or make it a little better, but it's always interesting to talk about things like this and hear different people's opinions. I'm a really big fan of the Regis, all of them, and well, for a while I wasn't too thing on Regigigas because it wasn't a Hoenn Pokemon, and it wasn't gotten through a puzzle like the other three. Having the leader of the Regis is pretty cool. And considering its only weakness is fighting, I don't know, it just kind of fits the whole theme. But anyway, having it be the worst of the four, by far, is pretty sad, even though Regice is currently also untiered. But, you know, it happens. Regice was good for a couple generations, in lower tiers at least. I feel like in Gen 3 it was actually good, or something like that. But either way, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye-bye.